And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm good, Rob. How are you?
Oh, absolutely, positively awesome. And today we have another guest that we've had on the show before. We have Olivia. How you doing, Liv?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, like I said, not too shabby. It was a good day at work, and usually the things that we do before this show are so much more fun than sometimes that we do on. So today we are going to talk friendship again and get it from a different point of view. We did a podcast not too long ago about how me and Tina thought friendships are just different in today's day and age. So we're going to get it from a younger person's standpoint, which I think is kind of an interesting view because, we haven't been in high school in quite a few years, and you're still at the end of your high school career and kind of how friends are, and you've lived in Orange County, California, which is a whole other place. It's like another country.
Yeah, it's like its own bubble.
It is its own bubble. So like for me, it was more because we talked off the air last time we were recorded, and I thought it was kind of brilliant and kind of how we oh, Tina, licorice, I want some. So let's start with like what you think friendships maybe are to you. Because I know you listened to the first show probably quite a while ago, and we just think that friendships are so different now. Like even as old as we are, having friends for a long time is awesome, but even they have caught on to the way of either not talking to you anymore, blocking you outright, disappearing, ghosting. It's like this really bizarre thing that we've kind of adapted to what younger people do.
Yeah.
What do you think is either the bigger issue with today? Because me and Tina talked about social media, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just easy to talk about people or talk behind people and texting and everything. Give me your kind of view on what you think, either what friendship is and then what you think it isn't.
Friendship, I would say from my perspective, being newly 18 and almost graduating high school, it's definitely different from how my mom and a lot of her friends have described it, as in like when you guys met, you guys would hang out all the time and you were the best of friends. But nowadays it's kind of like there's terms and conditions to the friendship. And like if you do something that they don't like, then you kind of get cut out of the circle and you have no idea why, except to like think back and try to understand what you did. And then you have to try and make it better yourself. So it's kind of give or take, I guess.
So you think that it's more, is it cliquey or is it just that everyone's like that?
I don't want to say everyone's like that because there's like very, very few people who are genuine and I keep in my close inner circle. But I would say that 95% of people my age still in high school are cliquey, definitely. Like they have a group that they hang out with at lunch. They don't want to branch out to other groups. They don't want to come and talk to new people, which I think is complete bullshit. Because I've met some of my closest friends that way. But yeah, I think friendships nowadays are very different than how they used to be.
What do you think? Like, obviously we were in school and I think it was still cliquey then, obviously. But I definitely think people were a lot more accepting, with the exception of maybe jocks. Cheerleaders and jocks were still, to me, very cliquey. We were kind of lucky. Like we kind of ran with a bunch of different kind of people, and communicators had a very eclectic group of people. So there was cheerleaders in there. So I knew cheerleaders that would pass me in the hallway and say hi.
Right.
So I think that it's weird to kind of hear that things really haven't changed that much.
They haven't. And I think that it's just the age. I think that when you're navigating friendships when you're young, you don't have the everything that you need to keep it stable. You're not going to keep it stable. People that you're going to have relationships with aren't going to be stable. Everybody's trying to learn to grow and they got to learn from each other. So it's very common for girls, especially, to be super cliquey and to love you one day and hate you the next. I mean, my brother used to say all the time, man, you girls are evil to each other. Like, you could go from loving each other to now they're like wanting to spray paint your car. How does that happen? But especially at your age, because you're so young and women are so bitchy towards each other, it's going to be like that for a while. And, I think the reason that it's like that is jealousy. Like, they want something that you have that they don't, or they're trying to hold on to something too tight that maybe they're already insecure about, like a guy. Yeah. And I think as you get older, your friends are they're going to really morph. Like, people that I'm still friends with, a couple people that I started first grade with. We're not as close as we were when we were in school, but we were close. But then there's other people that I was super close with at the same age, and now I have nothing to do with them. So it's just, I think it's just women. I also think it's friendships. And at your age, that's exactly what I would expect you to say.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what I was going through too.
And it sucks. Because obviously I want to have as many friends as possible and have as many connections as possible, but I'm also not going to keep somebody in my life who isn't bringing me joy and pushing me to be better. So there's not really.
And there's varying degrees of where you could keep people in your life too. And you may not have to single them out and hate on them forever or just not talk, but they're not going to be like your closer circle people. And there's definitely, I have degrees of friendships. Like, I have my married friends that I refer to as the crazies, and they are some of the funnest people you'd ever meet. And they have no judgment, and there's no guilt if you're acting like a fool. Like, they'll just laugh at you and we all move on. It's not a big deal. Then I have like my circle of girls that I go to lunch with, and they're completely different, and I see them in a completely different way. But I need all of them, you know what I mean, to balance me out. So as you grow and adapt, you'll learn how to keep certain relationships and let the other shit go. Because a lot of people that are your friend when you're young, they're not supposed to be there when you get older, because they remember what you were like as a child or as a young girl, and they'll always keep you there.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but that's what happens. And women grow and women change. Their lives are so set up for that. Like, I think that sometimes it's okay to let go of people, because you will find your group of crazies. You will find your niche. It just takes time. And it's not you. It's just everybody is growing. Everybody's trying to change. Everybody's trying to be better, different, cuter, smarter, skinnier. I mean, everybody's got their insecurities, especially at your age.
I agree with that. I think a lot of it comes from, like you said, jealousy. I think there's always going to be some layer that keeps being put on. Like you said, obviously with a boy, when you start involving, and I will say boys and girls, because like even when I was young, the circle, when you were the only one that had a girlfriend, the rest of the guys were pissy all the time.
Yeah.
Like, why are you hanging out with her? It's like, well, dude, like, I mean, she's soft and prettier than all you fools. That's why. And she kisses me. I'm like, you hairy lip fuckers. So like, for me, it's like, I get that part of it both ways, but it doesn't make it right. And I think, and again, I'm maybe talking out of turn because I am male. But I do think that there's a lot more jealousy when it comes to looks. Because guys, generally, at least in my circle, that didn't come up, or you didn't think that like they were mad at you because, you know, you had better hair or you had, you know, you got boobs first.
Yeah.
I think it was more like just angry testosterone shit where you just get mad for no reason. I think with girls, it's a little bit different because I know that there's, I mean, everything's hormonal at your age to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the funny thing is everybody's so insecure. Everybody's so insecure. Like,
Yeah.
I even myself, I'm not insecure now. I don't really care to get into all that anymore. I just know I got my group of people that I could go to and I could just be me and I leave it at that. But for the longest time, like I didn't even realize people were jealous of the silliest things, from having a brother that I got along with, and then parents that I also got along with. That caused a lot of jealousy with some people who didn't have it. I had no clue what was going on in their world to even know that that was a problem. And it was huge. Then there's, you know, you date the guy that so-and-so likes, and then the friend won't like you either because, you know, that's just common stuff that women do, you know, and I see you shaking your head. You totally know what I'm saying.
8 stories pop in my head right now.
Oh yeah. And you don't even realize it. Like one of my very closest friends used to hate on me because she was back in the day friends with this other girl that for some reason didn't like me. And she didn't like me because I dated the guy she liked. And if you've seen her, she was like one of the smallest, most petite girls in the school. And I was one of the biggest like ogres in the school. And like I dated 2 guys that she had a thing for. And her friend, who's now my friend, was bitter towards me just out of loyalty, just out of, you know, friendship with her other friend. But now that we've grown up and my friend is my friend now and we spend a lot of time together, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Tina." And I had no idea that was even going on. You know, so you don't even have to be doing anything for somebody to hate on you at your age. It's kind of funny.
It all started for me in like 8th grade when I think when boys first started noticing me, because I went to a private school until 7th grade was when I went to public school. So it was like a whole new world for me. And I think boys finally started to notice me. And I'm not small either. I'm almost 6 foot. I'm like 5'11", and I'm a big person. I'm built like a softball player. But I think boys started to notice me, and I think all the girls who were used to getting their ways and like used to me not being there were just like, "Oh my God, like who is this like model heighted blonde person?" And they got insecure. And I was literally cornered in a bathroom in 8th grade in middle school. And I didn't know what I did wrong. I was talking to one of that person's friends, and she cornered me in the bathroom. Like she was starting to put her hair up. And I was like, "What are you doing? We are in 8th grade. I'm like 13. Stop. This is lunchtime. I want to have my PB&J."
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me eat and get away.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have so many stories over the years of stuff like that that's gone on. And I had no clue. I was like, wow, they should have just asked me for whatever it was they were jealous about. I probably would have given it to them. Like they could have had it.
But I think that's the bad part at that age. Like there's no communication skills.
Right.
It's
rather than have a conversation.
It's 1 to 100. There's no, they don't gear up. It's like, they just jump on shit way too fast. And I will say, you know, maybe not the fight thing as an adult, but the emotion thing as an adult is still 0 to 100 to some people. Like it's instantaneous when if they hear something about somebody, or again, a friend of a friend says something and people still freak the fuck out. It's like, come on. The whole point is open your mouth and at least ask me.
Right.
You know,
I always, like with my friends now, I say, I'm not here to judge you. You could do whatever you want, good, bad, or indifferent. Just tell me what you're going to do so I could pop some popcorn, put my feet back, and watch the train wreck. I'll let you do whatever you want. If you want it to be good, if you want it to be bad, I'm always going to be like, do it, just whatever you want to do. But I am going to watch. And if you do something funny, I'm going to laugh and we're just going to be okay with it. There's no judgment. I don't hate on them. I always look at, if they're doing something that I wouldn't do, there's probably a lesson in it for them. And if I would do it with them, there was probably a lesson for both of us. So no one is exempt. No one's better than each other. It's all a level playing field and we could just be ourselves. And I have to tell you that for the longest time, I always felt like I was judged, always. Like I couldn't make everybody happy. It was such a pain in the ass. And now I don't have to make anybody happy. I just show up and say, this is who I am. And I'm not going to judge you. Don't judge me. And let's just have fun. And when I let all that go, I let my judgments go. And I saw that my friends did too, and that they started to treat me different. And now we could all just be the train wreck. We could all be doing whatever we're doing. And there doesn't have to be the judgments, because we still need to learn. There's still, on whatever level it is, we always have to learn something. And I think that was how I got over it, was just saying, no more judgment. We're not doing this. Everybody's going to have fun. Let's all be stupid together and not care.
Yeah.
So you obviously, I'm sure you have some stories, Liv, because you're still in that circle.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the only thing we ask on this show is you don't say names. You know, there's a lot of hers, a lot of hims, a lot of theirs. We like our pronouns when it comes to not ratting people out. But you know, if there's anything you want to talk about, like something that, I mean, because we talked before off air about obviously things that have impacted you, mostly with your closer friends. Like, what do you think was something that you learned from some of the missteps that you've had over the last couple of years?
That I'm way too introverted for my own good. I love to just sit in my own bubble and like text the people that I know will respond and like can actually hang out with me and will actually want to come over and pick me up and want to go get like coffee or something. But I've also learned that I was friends with, not even friends, I knew a lot of people out of obligation, because I had a whole friend group in like October, and then I decided to remove myself from that friendship because I needed to work on myself better. And there are multiple reasons why I needed to get out of that friend group. And as soon as I did, I dropped maybe like 30 friends. Like none of them texted me, none of them called, none of them, except maybe like one or two, called or text to check up on me and to be like, how are you doing? Like, I noticed that you don't come around anymore. Like, we're not going out as much anymore. Like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Like, do you need me to be there? None of that. And that's how teenagers are. We're not mentally like wired.
That's how people are.
I
People
agree.
are really selfish, and there's not very many that will go out of their way to spend time with somebody unless it suits their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Or they get something out of it.
Yeah, but there are people that you can say, hey, I need to see you, and they will show up. And those are the people you kind of want to spend your time with. But they're fewer and far between for sure.
Yeah, I think you're going to find out that I mean, I think adults are somewhat better. And I'll use the bell curve when it comes to that I think they are somewhat better. But you're right. I think you'll find that when you disappear from a group of people, you lose a lot more acquaintances when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all, again, like Tina said, they're kind of woven, you know, like these friends all get woven together and they're like, well, if she's not talking to you, why should I talk to her? It's like, well, because she's still your friend. Just because I don't like her doesn't mean that you should. And I think that when you get older, that gets better. Like, you know, there's people who I know in a very small group of circle that I know don't like me.
No.
But yeah, exactly.
How could they not?
Yeah, how could they not?
Bastards.
But I still talk to the other people, and we just don't bring up the other people. So I think that as you get older, it gets easier when it comes to that. You can easily ignore some things. Mostly if they're just not bad. Mostly if it's maybe like a character trait, and because some people you're just not going to get along with. That's just life.
Yeah.
As a teenager, it's got to be way harder though, because like Tina said before, it can be the smallest of things that can just ruin your day.
Yeah.
That's anything though when you're a teenager. I remember like just hearing somebody call and be like, "Oh, we got to see them tomorrow night for dinner." That would drive me crazy. Or I don't know, my brother snapping his fingers and singing something that was like working my nerves would. When you're a kid, like it's amazing the things that'll just drive you crazy. You have no patience for it all, or at least I should just talk about myself. I did not have patience for. But now I look at it and I'm like, I don't give a shit. Do whatever you're gonna do. I don't know where the patience came from, but I think time helped to that.
Do you think you're like that, Liv? Do you think you have a shorter patience as a teenager to maybe patience to bullshit?
Definitely. Especially over the past year, especially with COVID. I just don't really give a fuck anymore. Like I focused on graduating. I'm focused on jobs after high school. I'm focused on things I should be as an 18-year-old about to graduate high school. And I'm looking around and I'm noticing that a ton of people that I'm friends with and used to be friends with, they aren't doing that at all. Like they are very much like, drive my Jeep, let's go get Starbucks, like not a care in the world. But it's interesting to like look around.
They don't understand life is coming.
Oh no, not at all. Like
And who wants to know that right now? You don't want to know that life is coming and you need a job and you need to have a plan and you need to like, set your path in this world. Do you? It's kind of scary, isn't it?
yeah, I don't want to have to think about moving out yet like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that, like you're talking about, like obviously graduating high school, you're kind of at the end of your run of what is definitely more a social experiment. Because I that's what I believe high school is. High school is a social experiment to learn how to communicate with people, build friendships, learn how to learn. Because I think there's something to that as well. Like, I don't think it's that maybe the knowledge per se that you're learning. I mean, unless you're going to a higher education, but just the high school curriculum in general is a social experiment. It's learn how to deal with other human beings.
Yeah.
And then you're going to take that knowledge and you're going to take it to a job that you're going to go to next, where you're going to deal, like, let's say you go into retail. You're going to deal with a very wide age of people. So you have to be able to communicate with the same person your age, but you also got to communicate with the 50-year-old who's your boss. Or you have to communicate with the 50-year-old who's in the same position as you, and you have a 25-year-old boss. So there's like these very wide things you're going to have to deal with. And I think now that you're going to be going to another school, a new school, in a different place, I think it's important, at least how I would tell you, go in with a very, very open mind. Because if you go in with the attitude that you're going to just meet the same people that you did before, for one, you'll be crushed.
Yeah.
And you may be less likely to be okay with meeting somebody new and becoming friends with somebody who may not be like you.
Yeah, I'm going into the whole like new high school experience with a completely open mind because it's, for one, on the other side of the country, so it's a completely different demographic. And I'm not going to be in this bubble anymore. Thank God. I hate the bubble. I'm just excited to get out of it and meet people who are genuine and actually want to be friends with me, rather than people who just want to use me for gain.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
People are raised differently on the East Coast as they are the West Coast. And you're going to find a different quality of people. I'm not saying one is better than the other because I am so a California girl, but I would definitely say that educations are different, people are different, um, experiences are different. When I was married, uh, my husband at the time was from Connecticut, or that's where he was raised. And he said he never even saw anyone fight. And I was like, are you kidding? We used to sit at the bottom of the lunch area and watch people just beat the tar out of each other and everybody throw their chocolate milk at them.
Yeah.
Like a totally different situation. He's like, I never saw that. People threw food. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. That's how you got to
Different.
see boobs.
When the clothes got ripped. Yeah.
Yeah. Boobs and hair pulling.
Yeah.
I agree with her, though. I think you're going to find that the moral upbringing of people, mostly because you're going to, not only are you going to the East Coast, you're going to the southern part of the East Coast. So you're going to find
people with manners.
People with manners. Boys will probably treat you a lot different once they find out you're from California, if we're going to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I will tell you that when I graduated high school, I went back to a tiny town in Iowa. And when I mean tiny, the whole town had 1,500 people in it.
Our school had more people in it.
Yeah.
Our high school.
There was 500 people in our graduating class.
Mm-hmm.
So like a third of this town literally graduated with us. So I remember going back there and I remember sitting on the porch, because you sit on the front porch in these tiny towns, and a car drove by, and then the same car drove by, and the same car drove by again. So here I am from California. I jump off the porch and I walk to the curb, and here comes this car and it pulls up, and there's these two girls in the car, and they go, "You're that boy from California, aren't you?" And I went, "Uh-huh." I was like, "How did you find out that I was here?" And they were like, "Your mom told everybody you were coming." So then I had to go and have a conversation with my mother. Now, it was great though, because, and I'm not joking, I knew every girl in that town that was anywhere near my age. Mm-hmm. And every boy hated me. Mm-hmm. All of them. So you're going to be going to a much larger place, thankfully, where you're not in these tiny little towns. But I think that if you go in with the attitude that you're just another person, I would say don't downplay California, but definitely don't upplay it. Let's go. I came from California. I live here now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Another thing too is I found over the years that the better of a person that I am, I attract those better people that are better, friends that are better. So working on yourself and just like looking at what could I have done different? And then, you can't fix what you've already done, but you could definitely change your position. You could change the way you're headed. You could always I'm having a hard time with words today. You could just work on yourself. And as you do that, the right people come into your life. You don't even need to work at it. Yeah. But I always say, try to be the best person that you could be and always work at improving. I always tell my friends, I am not perfect and I'm no one's moral compass, but I showed up, I'm here. Let's have fun and not worry about everything. And as we've gotten older, that's exactly what we've done. We've been able to laugh at each other, have, cry with each other, because there's a lot that goes on in the life. It's not always good. It's not always bad, but there's always going to be somebody there with you. And that's what you do. You just work on where they're at right now or where you're at right now. And as you get older, you will find a better group of people. They'll come to you. It's a law of attraction.
Yeah, I'm honestly super excited to go to the new high school just to meet new people like that in California bubble. Because I want new experiences more than anything. Like I want to ride on the back of a tractor to school. Like that sounds fun.
then
Yeah, I think-
make it happen for sure.
Exactly.
Anything that you want, you have to be responsible for making it happen. I don't know anybody with a tractor, but if that's what I wanted to do, that's what I would do.
Tina would find a tractor.
I'd find a tractor.
Trust me, Tina would
Yeah.
find a tractor.
Yeah. The only person that holds you back from having a life is you. So I always said, no, nobody's stopping me from being Tina. That's all me. And I'm not going to waste time not having the experiences. So I do instigate a lot. I do encourage people to not do the right thing. I don't encourage anybody to go to jail. It's not like that. But in order to experience life, sometimes you have to do stupid things. Sometimes you have to say, no, I'm not. That's too much of a risk. But have those experiences. You are so young and this is the time you're supposed to do it. It's when it's expected. So do whatever draws you to it. Do it.
Yeah.
I also think going forward, since you are going to a new place, I'm really glad to hear that you're excited, because I think that's super important to have some kind of, positive outlook before you even go there. You're already you're pushing yourself in the frame of mind of, I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and you're going to do this. It's a solid thing for you. Like I said, with your experiences that you've talked about, or the loss of friendships, it's going to be a good start for you. I think that you're going to find yourself probably leaning more to the extrovert than being always wanting to be at home.
Yeah.
And the only time that things are forever is when somebody dies. Like, you cannot fix a conversation. You cannot change what you say. You cannot give them a hug. You can't be there. You can't not be there. You can't change anything once a person's dead. But you will find in your life that as you go through cycles, there will be recycled friends that'll come back around and be around with you. And sometimes relationships go like this. They go in and they go out. Like, you'll see each other for a long time and then you'll pull apart. Rob and I are really good examples of that. But when we're together, we're together. When we're apart, there's no hate. It's like, I love him. He's doing his own thing. He's cool, because he knows that if he needs me, all he has to do is call, because we've built that relationship. And it's okay to let go, because when you let go of people, you allow space for other people to come into your world that maybe you need for whatever lessons you're learning, but you're also letting them learn theirs without you. And sometimes that's a good thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see that more. I mean, similar to the relationship me and your mom have, same as me and Tina, where we'll be really far apart for a long time and then come back in. But when we're together, we're together.
Yeah, there's no beat that's missed and skipped.
Yeah. So go build those. I think you're already, from what I hear, you're letting go of the past.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And just let it go with, like, I wish them well. I wish them whatever they've got coming to them. I wish that for them. You don't have to put any angst or any meanness or anything from you negatively onto them. They got that handled all by themselves. All you have to do is just say, I just let them go. And if they're supposed to be back, they will.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not wishing anybody any ill will, or like, oh my gosh, I hope they get what they deserve. But like, I'm going to pass that on to karma and not
worry
about it. Like, it's not my problem anymore. They can take a few years to realize how cool I am and how much of a grown person I am at the age of 18. And they can look back and be like, oh, darn, I wish I would have chosen her over said person.
Mm-hmm.
In your life, you will see that everybody gets what they manifest, whatever they want. All you got to do is just let them go and say, I wish them the best, and that be it. That's all you got to do. And the more you grow and the more you change and the more you evolve, the people that are supposed to be there are just going to be there. You don't even have to worry about it. And you don't have to be lonely. And there was something when you said it, I was thinking, there are 2 times you should never beg a person. Don't ever beg a person to love you, and don't ever beg a person to be your friend. You let them go if they're not what you need. Do it as nicely as possible. Just let them go with love and move on, because you don't need to beg for those 2 things. You're worth more than that already. Without, like, just being born, you're worth more than that.
Yeah.
So in those times, let that go. Let the friendships go if they have to. Let the love go if you have to. Let it go and make room for what comes next, because what comes next is going to be way better than what you're leaving behind.
Yeah. I like to think of it as like, I think around mid-October is when I don't want to say everything kind of went wrong, but like I started losing a lot of friendships. A lot of people started disappearing from my life. I stopped doing a lot of things that I liked, and I kind of got down into this hole that I dug for myself. And I was kind of just like, nobody loves me. Nobody's there for me. I'm not anybody's favorite person. And I'm like, now looking back at it, I'm just like, that was like, looking at it, it gives me chills right now, because it's literally like the universe putting a wall between my past and here in California, and it's giving me a completely new slate for North Carolina. And it's like, I can be my own favorite person. I don't have to know anybody else. Screw everybody else. Nobody else matters. And once you figure that out, oh my God, your life will change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's okay to let go. Everybody's on this path on their own. You know, we come into this world naked and on our own. And that's how we stay. You know, you just need to just give things time. Nothing stays the same. People's opinions change, grow, manipulate. You know, you're at a place right now where you could pretty much make your life what you want. You could be miserable or you could be happy. Choice is yours. Like, you're 18 now and you've got, you know, you could legally walk away from your mom, your dad, whomever you need to, and do your own thing completely. So if that's what you want to do, you should be doing it. And just, you don't need to be apologetic. You don't need to be an asshole about it. You just need to do it. And you're going to be so happy when you could just act like you and not what you think somebody needs you to act like. It's going to be so much better. I wish somebody would have told me that when I was younger, because I wasted a lot of time trying to be something I'm not to kind of fit in so that I didn't stand out so much, because I do stand out. I'm a tall woman. I'm a loud woman. I'm a smart woman. And people notice me when I go into a room. I'm not one that could just sneak in. I've never been. I wish I was. I'm just not somebody that could sneak in. So I've had to just own it and not apologize for being me. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm just being me. And when I did that and just got really honest with myself, I got to say, life and people in it got so much better. So just continue to be yourself and do you. Because like, this is your life and you're 18. Like, I'm 50 doing this. You need to be 18 doing this, not 50. And if they're meant to come back around, they'll come around. Trust me.
Yeah.
Here's we're gonna get close here soon. I didn't start the timer, so I'm a little off on time. But I have a question for Liv. So you're about to set this journey off. You definitely have a great frame of mind. If I was to ask you, what are your goals in the next year? 1 year. That's all I'm asking. I don't care 20 years from now. What's your goal in the next year?
To make myself better, honestly. That sounds really cliche, but just to start doing small things like eating better and working out and just not doing all this negative self-talk, because don't get me wrong, I do that so much more than I really honestly should, but that's normal. And just to like make as many connections as possible and make as many new friends as I can, no matter what they look like, who they are, what they do, where they come from, just anybody, as long as they're good to me, that's all that matters. So that's really the big picture. And what's the word? I'm having issues with English today too.
You and Tina.
What's the word? Anyway.
I will tell you what it sounds like to me, and I think it's the super positive. It sounds like you want to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think at your age, at your mental, capacity where you're at, the one thing that you can do is grow. Take opinions for what they are. So I think that's also important, but grow however you need to. Because like you said, you're going to get friends, a job. Your life is going to change dramatically more than you think when you graduate high school. Because even the friends that you gain during this high school, some of them will disappear because life changes.
And remember too, it's supposed to change, and don't fear it. Don't fear it, because think of it as you're just making room for what comes next. Because Rob's making me nervous talking about how, you're getting to the end of this like huge cliff, and things are gonna be so different. It's not that different. I became a hairdresser, and people act like mean girls every day, just like they did in high school. Women still have the same issues as far as their insecurities and how they treat each other and stuff. I hear it. I see it all the time. The best advice, though, is first of all, you're going to fail. So don't be too hard on yourself, because failure teaches you better than anything you'll ever learn by doing it right the first time.
Yeah.
And be bold, like be you, just be you. If somebody would have told me, just be that Tina that pisses everybody off because they can't be that person, you're going to have a good life. And I kind of muted myself down or kind of watered myself down so that I could fit in a little bit. And I realized like people missed Tina because I didn't show up to the party. I wasn't who I needed to be. And it's unfortunate because now that I look back, people did need me to be me so that they could be them and they could feel like they had the courage to be who they needed to be. And now I'm telling people, but I wish I could have just led the way from the get-go. And you're being a bigger woman, like you said, you're really tall and everything, fucking own that. Mm-hmm. If I had a dime for, now that I'm single and guys are coming back around, they're like, hell yeah, tall woman, one that stands really tall, one that owns it, one that has a curvy body. Who knew that was something that guys liked? I didn't know that in high school. I always tried to wear big clothes and bind my boobs real tight and like just try to walk around not being noticed. And, at our size, at our height, we're always going to be noticed. So might as well just be bold as bold could be and just own it and be as loving to everybody else trying to own whatever they are at the same time.
Yeah.
But do that. Trust me. Trust me when I say do that, because that's something I should have owned more myself.
Well, I think that was pretty good. I think you hit it out of the park with that at the very end. Own it, be yourself, own it, and grow. I think you're going to do fine. And she's right too. Be yourself, because at the end, I found that me being me more, you're going to have real friends the more you're just yourself.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely.
That's going to happen. I'm going to know them. I'm going to be in school with them for 6 months. So what if they don't like me? They can piss off after 6 months.
You hit that on the head.
Yep.
Tina?
Zero fucks given.
0 fucks given.
My brother tells me that all the time. I'm working hard to be that person, but man, that's hard.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But anyway.
Tina, give him the info.
Yes. As always, please keep listening and subscribe. You could listen to us on Spotify, Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook. Just check out Don't Get This Twisted podcast. And we're still at about 26 states. We have 13 cities in India listening. So thank you, India. We have people listening in Colombia, Australia, the US, of course, the UK, Italy, Russia, Romania, France, and Turkey. I don't even know people in those countries, but I have to say to all of you, thank you for listening, and please share. And again, subscribe, because we'd like to keep doing this. We're at 825 downloads, which I think is amazing. Most podcasts don't go past 5 podcasts. So we're doing really well with how many? We're up to 26 podcasts now that we've got.
Yeah, somewhere around there. It's coming.
So thank you all for listening, and please continue to share us, and we would love to hear your feedback. So check us out on social media.
Awesome. And as you know, this is an opinion show, and don't get it twisted. We're just doing our own thing and trying to have some fun. And for my co-host Tina and Liv, because she's going to be visiting quite often on this lovable podcast, I'm Rob, and Will. You can listen to us in a week. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.